Baby, sit down. I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen because I am not going to say this twice. Well, I might say it twice. I am old. I repeat myself. But just sit down. My third child, Dolores. That girl. She was the smallest of all 9. Arms like little sticks and these big brown eyes that looked at you like she already knew the world was going to be too much. Every time somebody coughed at church, Dolores caught it. Every time. The other children would be running around outside, fine, not a care in the world, and Dolores would be lying on the couch with a cloth on her forehead, looking like something the wind dragged in. And I would sit there watching her and think, what am I doing wrong? Because you think that. When your child is the one who is always down, you think that. I took her to my mama's house one Saturday. It was November because the pecans were dropping, and Dolores was picking them up off the ground and putting them in her dress pockets instead of eating. That girl collected everything, rocks, buttons, pecans. Her pockets always had something in them. Anyway, my mama watched her for a while, did not say a word, just watched. You know how old women do. They watch, and you can tell they are thinking something, but they do not say it until they are ready. You cannot rush that. Do not try. Then she looked at me, and she said, and these are her exact words because I have heard them in my head every day for 50-something years. She said, Mittie, you are not feeding that child right. Now, let me tell you how that felt. It felt like she slapped me because I was feeding my children every day with everything I had, beans and rice and bread and whatever greens were growing, and potatoes when nothing else was left. I was feeding that child. But Mama was not talking about whether Dolores had food in her belly. She was talking about whether the food was carrying what the body needed to fight. There is a difference, and I did not know the difference until that Saturday. She did not yell at me. She did not make me feel small. Well, she made me feel a little small, but that was Mama. She just said, come here, let me show you. And she took me into her kitchen, and she showed me 3 things. 3 things that changed how I cooked for the rest of my life. And changed Dolores. That is what I am going to show you today. The same 3 things, exactly how my mama showed me. But hold on. Before I get into any of this, I want to say something, and I am serious. If you are sick right now, truly sick, not just tired, not just run down, but sick, go to the doctor. I mean it. What I'm about to show you is not a doctor. It is food. It is what my generation used to keep the body strong before anything had a chance to knock it down. It is the foundation. But if the house is already falling, you need more than a foundation. You need help. Go get it. Do not let an old woman on the internet talk you out of going to the doctor. That is not what I am doing here now. The 3 things. The first one, the broth. I was making broth wrong for years, and I did not even know it. I would boil up some chicken bones for an hour, maybe 2, add salt and pepper, and think I had done something. Mama watched me make it one time, and she got this look on her face. You know the look. The look your mama gives you when you think you did good, and you did not do good. That look. She said, and I can still hear her voice, she said, baby, an hour gives you flavor. You do not need flavor. You need what is inside that bone. And what is inside that bone does not come out in an hour. So here is what she did. She took the bones. We had chicken that week, so it was chicken bones. But she said any bones work, beef, pork, whatever you have. And she put them in the big pot, the one that was too heavy for me to lift when I was little, filled it with water, added a splash of vinegar, just a little, maybe 2 tablespoons. I asked her why the vinegar. She said it pulls what is hiding inside the bone out into the water. I did not understand that. I just did what she said. You did not argue with my mama, not about cooking, not about anything really, but especially not about cooking. She brought it to a boil. Then she turned it down low, real low, just barely moving, a bubble here and there like the water was thinking about something. And then she left it. She left it all day, all night. She got up the next morning and it was still going. She added water a few times when it got low, skimmed the foam off, but she did not touch it otherwise. She let the heat do the work. By the next morning, that water was not water anymore. It was thick, dark gold. When she put some in a bowl and let it cool, it jiggled. Like, you know what gelatin looks like. It looked like that. She said, "You see that jiggle? That is what the body uses to build its fight. That is what you have been throwing away." I had been throwing it away for years. She gave Dolores a cup of that every morning, warm, with a pinch of salt, before breakfast, before anything else, every day, not just when the child was feeling bad, every day. She said, "You do not fix a roof while it is raining. You fix it while the sun is out. A pot of this costs, listen, $2, maybe $3 in bones. The butcher will sell you soup bones for almost nothing. Sometimes they give them to you if you ask nice. $3 of bones gives you enough broth for a whole week. The store sells broth in those cartons. You know the ones, the nice-looking ones with the pretty labels, for $7, $8, $9 each. A family buying 2 of those a week is spending over $700 a year on broth. Making it at home, less than $150 for the whole year. And what comes out of your pot after a full day is not what is in that carton. I do not care what the label says. It is not the same thing. If you are still here, stay. Because what Mama told me next is the part that made me look at her like she had lost her mind. She said, "Now, the garlic." I said, "Mama, she is 7. She said, "I know how old she is. Get me the garlic." I got the garlic. You do not argue with that woman. I told you that already. She took 2 cloves, peeled them, put them on the counter, and she took the side of the knife, the flat part, and she pressed down hard, crushed them, not chopped, not sliced, crushed. She was very particular about this. She said, "When you crush garlic, it releases something that cutting does not release. You can smell it. That sharp, hot smell that fills up the whole room. That is what you want. If you cannot smell it, you did not crush it hard enough." Then she did something I did not expect. She left them on the counter, just sitting there, for about 10 minutes. I said, "Mama, you forgot the garlic." She said, "I did not forget anything. It needs time to wake up." I looked at her. She looked at me. And I learned a long time ago that when Mama said something that sounded strange, you just wait, because it always made sense later, even if it did not make sense right then. After 10 minutes, she scooped the crushed garlic into a spoon with dark honey. Not the regular kind, the dark kind that moves slow and tastes like the ground. She mixed it up on the spoon and she handed it to Dolores and she said, "Open." Dolores opened her mouth. She swallowed it. And the face that child made. Lord, if I could have taken a picture of that face, I would have framed it and hung it on every wall in the house. Her eyes got wide and her lips pressed together, and she just stood there, breathing through her nose like she was trying to decide whether to forgive us or not. But she took it every morning because Mama said so. And after a few weeks, she stopped making the face. After a few months, and this is the part I need you to hear, she stopped catching everything. It was not sudden. I almost missed it. One Sunday at church, somebody was coughing. I braced myself. The next week, nothing. The week after, nothing. That had never happened before. Something in that girl got stronger. I watched it happen. Slowly, like a plant that finally got enough water. 2 cloves of garlic cost about 10 cents. The honey jar costs about $6 or $7 and lasts over a month. Less than $8 a month. The store sells garlic capsules in brown bottles for $30 that promise the same thing. I have nothing else to say about that. You can do the math. Before I go on, if somebody came to your mind right now, somebody in your family who needs to hear this, send it to them. That is how this knowledge got to me. My mama did not learn it from a website. She learned it from her mama, who learned it from hers. It goes back further than I can count. And the only reason I know it today is because somebody passed it on. Hand to hand, kitchen to kitchen. Do not let it stop with you. Now. The third thing, and this was the hardest one, not hard to do, hard to hear. Mama looked at what Dolores was eating. She looked at the jelly on the morning biscuit, the sweet tea we drank all day, the candy from the store, and she said, plain, no softness to it, she said, "You are feeding the wrong side." I said, "What?" She said, "The body is in a fight every day. There is a side trying to keep that child well and a side trying to bring her down. Every time you give her that sugar, you are feeding the side that is trying to bring her down. You are giving it strength, and you are starving the side that is trying to keep her up." I sat with that for a long time because she was right. The sweet tea at every meal, the jelly every morning, the candy after church, it was everywhere. Sugar was everywhere. And I had never once thought about it as feeding the wrong thing. I just thought, she is a child. Children eat sweet things. But Mama was not talking about what children want. She was talking about what the body needs. Those are not always the same thing. She did not tell me to take everything sweet away. She was firm, but she was not cruel. She said, "Cut it in half." Then cut that half in half. Put water where the sweet tea was. Put a mashed banana where the jelly was. Give her the pecans she is already picking up off the ground, instead of the candy from the store. She was already reaching for the right thing. Dolores was already putting the pecans in her pockets. All I had to do was stop putting the wrong thing on the table next to it. This one has no price comparison because you cannot charge for removing something. But I will tell you this. The money a family spends on sugar, the sweet drinks, the snacks, the flavored everything, if you sat down and added it up, you would not want to finish the math. Cutting it in half does 2 things at once. The body gets stronger. The wallet gets heavier. Simple as that. If this is making sense, subscribe. Baby, I have so much more to tell you, and I do not want you to miss it. Now listen, I want to be straight with you about what I just showed you. The broth, the garlic, and honey. Pulling back on the sugar. This is what my mama taught me. It is what I did with Dolores. It is what I have done in my kitchen for over 50 years. It is not magic. I know what the title of this video says. I use that word because what I watched happen to Dolores felt like magic when I did not know what else to call it. But it is not magic. It is patience. It is showing up every morning with the broth and the garlic and making the same choice about the sugar, day after day after day, until the body has enough of what it needs to stand up on its own. And it is not a replacement for a doctor. I need to say that one more time because I mean it. If someone in your house is truly sick, fever that will not break, weakness that does not let up, something that came on fast and hard and is not getting better, you go get help. Please. I am not a doctor. I have never been a doctor. I am a grandmother who watched her weakest child become her strongest, and I am telling you what I did. That is all. What you do with it is between you and your own good sense. Here is what I want you to do. Not all three at once. Mama did not do it that way, and I am not going to tell you to do it that way either. Pick one. If you have bones in the freezer right now, or you can get to the butcher this week, start the broth. Put it on in the morning. Let it go all day. By tomorrow morning, you will have your first cup. Drink it warm. Every morning for a week. See how you feel by the end of that week. If the broth is too much time right now, start with the garlic and honey tomorrow morning. 2 cloves. Crush them. Wait 10 minutes. 1 spoon of dark honey. Swallow it. 5 mornings. That is all I am asking. If neither one of those feels right, start with the sugar. Just look at it. Do not even change anything the first day. Just notice. How much is in the tea? How much is on the biscuit? How much is in the things between meals? Then the next day, cut 1 thing. Just 1. See what a week of that feels like. Tell me in the comments which one you picked. I want to know, and I want to know something else. Did your mama or your grandmama have her own way of keeping the family standing through winter? Her own broth? Her own spoonful of something she gave you every morning that you did not understand but you took because you did not have a choice. Tell me about it. Write it down here where everybody can read it. Because there is somebody watching this right now who needs exactly what your grandmother knew. And if nobody writes it down, it goes with her. 1 generation. That is all it takes for something that worked for 100 years to disappear because nobody asked. I read every comment, every single one, the ones that carry somebody's grandmother's voice. Those are the ones I go back and read twice. Next time, I am going to show you something that connects to today. There is a jar in my cabinet. Dark glass, no label. Been there since I do not even know when. With something my mama made every September from 2 roots she pulled out of the ground behind the house. She would dig them up before the first frost, wash them off at the pump, and set them on the porch to dry. She gave it to us by the teaspoon when the season turned, and the body could not figure out if it was holding up or falling apart. I have been making it the same way for 50 years, and I have not talked about it yet. That is next. Subscribe so you do not miss it. What everybody calls getting sick is not a mystery, and it is not bad luck. It is the body's wall getting thin because nobody fed it what it needed to stay thick. The broth, the garlic, the honey, the food your grandmother cooked every day without reading a single label. That is what the wall is made of. It always was. You do not need a store. You need a stove, a little patience, and you need to remember what was already there.